allow us also to share with you and with all of you a very powerful tool that we will begin to share on your world at this time that will allow you to understand something very important about some of the things that you may feel. We can use the cynicism as an example, since you have brought it up. Anytime you have a feeling that is of a vibration of the nature that you know is out of alignment with your truth, of course, as we have always said, allow it, acknowledge it, own it, because you cannot change what you do not own. But now, understand it is a very powerful tool of transformation. And first and foremost, it is a very powerful tool of diffusing and neutralizing the negative vibration in anything that comes up. So, whatever it is you may feel, be it anger, be it hate, be it doubt, be it fear, be it cynicism that you believe is out of alignment with your truth at any given moment, say out loud to yourself, or if the situation does not allow that, say strongly in your inner voice the following thing, or some variant thereof, depending upon what it is you are experiencing. I am feeling cynicism because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling hate because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling fear because I choose to believe I need to. I am feeling doubt because I choose to believe I need to, or I choose to believe I must, or I choose to believe it serves me, or I choose to believe fill in the blank. But the critical portion is the acknowledgement that you are feeling what you're feeling. I am feeling X. Followed by, because I choose to believe, fill in the blank. When you begin to observe the feelings and make these statements in that moment, you will find that the vibration will somewhat flatten out, somewhat neutralize, somewhat diffuse. It will bring you back at least somewhat to center, because you have actually completed a circuit. You will start to rewire your brain. Most of you experience some of the difficulties and struggles that you do on your planet, and thus the feelings that go with it of pain and doubt and fear and cynicism and hate and so on and so forth. Because, as you have pointed out, in your upbringing, many of those ideas were reinforced in such a way so that the circuit was never allowed in your brain to actually get grounded as a complete equation or a complete thought. All that was entrained within you was, I feel fear, I feel doubt, I feel cynicism, I feel hate, I feel anger, I feel less than, I feel this, and left at that. Just left at that. And then left to wonder and ponder what to do with that, without a tool to complete the circuit. Because just, I feel hate, I feel this, is an incomplete circuit. It only takes you halfway and doesn't give you an opportunity to understand how to ground it into physical manifestability in a way that allows the energy to dissipate and then be worked with, to take you to a place where you're capable of working with it. So from this point forward, if you wish, up to you, use this tool to complete the circuit. And every time you may be going along joyfully and suddenly feel cynicism, hate, doubt, any vibrational, emotional alignment that you feel is out of alignment with your true self, stop, take a moment, and acknowledge, I feel X because I choose to believe I must. As soon as you do that, you will be back in control, back in the center of your being. The energy will somewhat flatten, diffuse, and dissipate, and you will be able to then, from that point forward, deal with the issue at hand, which would be the underlying belief, without getting caught up in the short circuit of just, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that, I feel, 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 and never knowing what to do about it. Now, also at the same time, to reinforce the positive vibration, anytime you feel a positive emotion, do the same thing. I feel overwhelming joy and love because I choose to believe I must. And that will start strengthening your ability to complete the circuit when the negative vibration comes up. You will more likely want to complete the circuit, because when you complete the circuit and flatten and neutralize the original negative vibration, it will propel you toward the positive vibration from the reinforcement, and you will begin to get into the habit of choosing the idea of doing a flow-through, a complete follow-through to the positive side from the negative, instead of stopping halfway and being short-circuited. And you will literally, by doing this exercise every time that you catch that emotional vibration out of alignment, completing it with the phrase and grounding it, diffusing it, going to the positive, reinforcing the positive in the same way, you will literally start to rewire the electrical pathways, neurological pathways of your brain that were previously short-circuited by the kind of training and upbringing you had as children. You will literally rewire your brain, and as you do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, you will suddenly begin to realize that in time it will actually be a struggle to get into negative vibrational reality. You will start to expand and increase the idea of what we may refer to as the gravitational potential of your positive vibration. Look at this idea in your mind's eye right now. Imagine, if you will, that at the core of your being there is a powerful, bright star, shining bright. However, it is mostly invisible to you because it is surrounded by a shell, a spherical shell of all sorts of belief systems that may be out of alignment with your true self, which is that star at your core. But as you reinforce the positive side, as you neutralize the negative side, as you rearrange the neurology of your brain, as you ground the circuit, complete the circuit in this way, bit by bit, piece by piece, these puzzle piece shell around the star will begin to crack, become transparent, become see-through, let you know the star is there. You start to see the light. The shell starts to crack and fall away, float away from around the star, and you begin to feel the pull, the tug of the star, like a moth to a flame, entranced, mesmerized by the beauty and the vibrational power of the core of your being, and you begin to fall toward that star. And the closer you get, you come under the influence of its gravity more and more powerfully. And the closer you get, the gravity becomes stronger. The closer you get, the gravity becomes unbelievably powerful, overwhelmingly powerful, until such time as you are caught in the gravity well of your positive self to such an extent it will be impossible, or very, 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 very to the power of 99.999999999% unlikely that you will be able to pull away from that pull, that tug of the positive vibration again. With that picture also in mind of falling toward the star of the light within you, you will also start falling toward that star. And you will feel its tug. And as you become immersed in that gravitational well and unable to pull away from it more and more, you will become more sensitized to the vibrations that are you, and also more sensitized to the vibrations that are not. So you will constantly then move away from what you are not and towards what you are, and the pull will become inexorable. And you will fall into the center of your soul and be who you are.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a question about, today you were talking about parallel universes and
Yes.
talking about...
And I was probably talking about parallel universes in a multitude of parallel universes.
And one of the things you touched on was that there comes a time when you start recognizing the shift between the parallel universes.
Yes.
And you start realizing that reality isn't something that we've been conditioned to believe. And so my question is more of asking you for advice on how to not get lost in integration, because sometimes I reach these higher states and I start seeing...
Do you have a belief that you can get lost? Why don't you find out why you have a belief that you can get lost instead of a belief that you will always know your way?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, is that too simple? Do you want it to be more complicated than that? I apologize. I know sometimes how much you humans love to complicate things because you often feel that it's not really worthwhile if it's not difficult. But it is that simple. Oh, there I go again. Can it be that simple for you to know that the only way you would feel lost is that you have a belief you can get lost? And if you actually find out that that belief doesn't serve you and is illogical for you to hold on to, you can replace it with a belief that says there's no way you can possibly get lost. And even in what may seem to be a moment of getting lost, that you're simply finding another portion of yourself. Remember, the only thing you will ever discover in the unknown is more of you. That's all that exists in the unknown, more of you. So how can you get lost when all you're ever going to find is more of you? And that you will be there saying, hello. What took you so long? Oh, I don't know. I was thinking I was lost. Oh, silly human. Tricks are for kids. I don't play tricks. I am your higher mind, and I always guide you unerringly. You don't have to trust it, but that's another game.
So,
yes.
Another part to that question is, when I'm integrating and experiencing some of the things that we've been talking about,
Yes.
I feel like I'm challenged with just living my day-to-day life of like food.
When you say, all of you, please understand, when you say, I feel, what you're saying is, I have a definition that allows me to feel this. You cannot have a feeling without a definition first. There's no such thing as having an emotional response if you don't already define something as being true. So if you have the feeling, own it, love it, accept it, acknowledge it, all well and good. But don't just stick with the idea that the feeling is justifying continuing to have the feeling. Just because you have a feeling doesn't mean that you have to continue to have that feeling. The feeling brings to your attention that you must have a definition that generates that feeling. So find out what the definition is and see if you want to perpetuate that definition. If you change it, you'll change the feeling. Because you cannot have a feeling without a definition. All thoughts, all actions, all behaviors, all feelings come from something you believe and define to be true first. Thus, that's how you use your behaviors and use your thoughts and use your feelings to trace back to what the definition must be in order to actually generate that feeling. Instead of just getting stuck in the idea that just because you're feeling something, you have to just keep feeling it as if that's justified unto itself. Make sense? Yes. So, catch yourself when you say, I feel, and stop yourself right there and say, all right, I have a feeling. That's good. That's all well and good. I acknowledge it. I own it, because you can't change what you don't own. Don't suppress it. Don't get rid of it. Don't ignore it. Own it. This is my beautiful feeling. But what does the feeling tell me? What must I believe is true in order to have this feeling? Find out what that definition is, and you, once identifying that definition, will reveal to yourself how that definition makes no sense for you to hold on to, and once you let it go, you will not have the same feeling. And if you continue to have the feeling, then you have yet another definition that is making it seem logical to continue to choose something you say you don't prefer. It's that simple. Really, it is. It's just physics. It's just energy. It's just vibration. It's just resonance. Is this making some sense?
Yes.
Is this helping you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I just simply want to express my incredible gratitude for the information you express and how you give it off and how I've been able to integrate it within myself in a very, very powerful and positive way.
Thank you.
And
our gratitude to you as well for choosing to do so.
Thank you. And how as I move through my experience in my life, and I more and more how, I don't know how to express it, that, that I'm becoming more holistic with my higher self, my higher mind. Yes. But occasionally I feel like there's incredible synchronicity flowing through my experience, and it's at some point there's like a lull in the experience. And
well, sometimes you have to stop and smell the roses, as you say.
Yes.
You have to absorb what you've learned.
Yes.
The idea of a roller coaster is that you don't just stay on the hill, you have to go down the hill to really get the thrill.
Okay. Yeah.
Now remember, even though you may all feel that sometimes you're going like this, up and then there's a down, and up and there's a down, and there's a high and a lull, and a high and a lull, you're not really going like this. You're going like this.
Nice.
You're always rising.
Always
the
expanding.
lulls allow you to absorb what you learned on the high and apply it in physical reality so that you can increase the total energy of your experience and the next time reach an even higher high because you're always climbing.
Okay. Good. That's good to know. It's good to always know. I mean, I know that in my
This
experience.
is
Yes.
an illustration and case in point in the idea of truly allowing your imagination to be flexible enough to come up with these illustrations and definitions for yourself so that you can create and define your reality the way you really prefer to, instead of just settling for the idea that it's a low, and I have to stick with that, I have to settle for that, I just have to accept it's a low.
Yeah.
Redefine it. Redefine low as high.
It's integration point.
And then see how high you can go from there.
Always higher. Always
Which
expanding.
is what we just did. Yeah. For as you see, even though there are highs and lows, the low is always higher than the last high.
Okay. Nice.
Ooh. Does this help?
Oh, it's incredibly helpful.
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
we thought perhaps it would be credibly helpful, but there you go.
That's quite. Yeah, I think, that as, I'm going through in this expansion process and this incredible transformation time in this planet, as you say, just like I've had experiences of, incredible expansion.
Yes.
And, all the time. And it just seems like the next one just overtakes the last one. And overtakes the last one. And the last one.
And trust me, as far as we know, that will never end. Whether you are physical or not, it will never, ever end. Expansion is infinite.
Yes.
So have fun.
Oh, always.
Have fun forever.
Ever.
Unless you don't think you can handle it.
Oh, I can handle it. I'm just very, very excited for it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're done.
I'll say let us continue with this transmission. Now, did you enjoy your refreshment break? Yes. All right. Let us continue this transmission in the following way. We will discuss at the moment a few different kinds of things. This is all lumped under the idea of our title, Today is Yesterday's Tomorrow. That meaning that all time is one, it is all here and now. And what we will speak about that regards the concept you call the future is, nevertheless, I remind you, actually existing in the present, and that there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. Once again, we say there is only the sensing of the energy that exists at the present time the prediction is made. That is what is being sensed, is the present energy. If that energy does not change in any significant way, then what has been sensed is representative of that which will unfold and manifest. If, however, the energy does change, which is sometimes changed by the prediction itself, then the energy may take a different course and something different will occur. This does not mean that any kinds of predictions are necessarily wrong if they do not come to pass. It may simply be that they were sensing an energy that has changed, since all predictions are of the present energy. The reason that this is so is because empirically, fundamentally, there really is no such thing as the future, just as there really is no such thing as the past. Everything is simultaneously coexistent, and you cannot actually prove the existence of either the future or the past. But wait a minute, Bashar. We have evidence from the past. Do you now? And exactly where is that evidence? Oh, here in the present. That's correct. And that's the only place it exists, is in the present. And what you call the past is simply another dimension, a different frequency, a different wavelength of experience that exists right now alongside your own present. There may be a cross-connection of continuity being made to make it appear as if there is a linear connection from past to present to future, but that continuity connection, that continuity illusion, is being created from the present, always. So when you say, here is evidence of the past, what you are saying is, you have created a linkage, a bridge, a connection, to a simultaneously concurrent reality in such a linear space-time manner as to create the illusion of cause and effect, because it serves a purpose for you to experience the idea of the process of creation from a beginning to an ending. That's all you're doing. But there is no actual proof of the existence of the past, because there is no such thing. That is why it is also easy to cross-connect to other lives, because they all exist now. And thus then, if it truly was that they were in the past, or truly was that they were in the future, you would not be able to really make that linkage. There is only one moment. It is now. Everything happens in the now. Everything that appears to be a different moment is actually a different perspective of the same now. A different point of view, a different angle, a different picture, a different photograph. But it is all part and parcel of the same infinite now, in which everything exists and everything occurs. So, in terms of what we are about to say about things that may unfold, again, remember, we are reading the energy as it exists now. But it is always your world and always your choice to allow the momentum of many of these things to continue, to allow the inertia of many of these things to unfold, or to choose a different course and create a new reality experience that you can shift to. When we talk about the idea also of everything being now, the idea again is to remember, or we would like to reinforce the notion that you keep in mind that all changes are total changes in the sense that you shift from one reality to another. You shift, in a sense, your point of view, because you already exist in all the realities that you're ever going to exist in. So it's not even a matter of actually changing from one reality to another. It's an issue more of closing your eyes, closing your focus in one reality, and opening them in another in which you already exist, or at least a version of you does. The idea of changing is never that you will change anyone else, never that you will change the world, not even in a sense that you'll actually change yourself. It is simply that you shift to a reality whose vibration is already reflective of the reality vibration you now prefer, and start looking with your consciousness through the eyes of the version of you that already exists in a reality reflective of what that version of you represents. So you've never changed anyone, never changed the world. The world that you used to look through the eyes of still exists, always will, and will always experience itself as it is. But you can experience a new earth, a new reality, depending upon your vibration. And that's why we say, all you have to do to change the world is change yourself. Because you will never actually change the world. You will only change from one perspective to another. But that will appear and feel and be experienced as a new world. And all the individuals who have representations in that world, you will experience. Individuals who do not have representations in that world, you will not experience. It is as simple as that. For a while, you may continue to experience the idea of people who have representational vibrations that are not necessarily fully aligned with the world that you prefer. But that's also because you are not fully aligned yet with the world that you prefer. And so there will be, as you say, a potpourri, a mixed bag for a while, and you will still for a while be capable of experiencing people who do not necessarily vibrate in accord with you. But that's still for the purpose of giving you the option to reflect off of them what you are by seeing what you are not. For many of you still understand what you are in that way. But the more and more you understand who you are for its own sake, without necessarily needing to see a counter offer of what you are not, more and more of you who do not need that will no longer see that. You will simply find yourself one day interacting pretty much only with the individuals who are similar in nature, similar in vibration. And you may scratch your heads and wonder where all the other people went. But they will still be on the world that you no longer look through. And they will still be living their lives as they wish to, as they have chosen to. And it's as simple as that. And neither, in terms of validity, is more important or better or right or wrong than the other. They are all part and parcel of the infinite choices within all that is. Allow them to all be valid. Allow all to make the choices that they need to make. And by doing so, it will be that much easier for you to allow yourself to experience the reality that you prefer. Now, as we read the energy now, many things are changing, many things are shifting, and this is what we perceive at the moment. You have begun to experience the breakdown of some of your economic systems. You have begun to experience some shifting in your political worlds. This will continue. And again, as we have always said, the idea is not to change the old systems, but to have new systems in place, ready to go when the old systems fall apart. That will be part and parcel of taking action in the new world, in the new way. creating that vibration that is representative of the reality you wish to take yourself to. So that when you shift, and in that shift, experience the old ideas falling away, falling apart, crumbling all around you, you will have the capacity to attract to yourself new systems, either invented by you or others that you will attract yourself to be able to facilitate the new ideas, the new perspectives, the new ways of doing things in the new reality you will have shifted to, which can then be implemented rapidly. Now, as it stands in this moment, what you are doing with your economic structure may carry you for about 5 of your years. Then there will be what you call another collapse. But at that time, in 5 years, there will be other systems that can rapidly replace what has then been washed away. So, do not fear. Never approach these things with fear, for that will determine what reality you experience. So obviously what we are perceiving and what we are sharing with you is part and parcel of the reality, of the vibration of your preferred reality, which does not mean there will not be change, sometimes even very dramatic change. But remember, as we said, an event is not an event until you have responded to it. So the idea is not so much exactly what happens, but how you respond to it that makes it the event you will experience it to be. So respond well to all these things, and they will serve you well in the new reality. Respond negatively, and that's the reality you will remain in. So in 5 years, you will see, most likely, the opportunity to reinvent some very fundamental economic principles on your planet that will begin to take you, not right away, but will begin to take you toward an understanding of the true worth and the true value of the individual members of a society, which will ultimately lead to an economy actually based on the actual skills and talents of the individuals in a society, which will be in that context uncorruptible. The idea in that sense will be that as you approach the concept of a global organization, it will be one that allows borders and barriers to be crossed and to be dissolved, because it will be the skills and talents of individuals that will cross those borders to be of service to others who need their services. And as you begin finding more and more teams of individuals being sent around the world to aid and assist those that require their assistance, you will suddenly begin to see the threads being woven of the tapestry of a new economy. And bit by bit, within a few decades, you will realize that no longer will you require an artificial symbol to represent the idea of value and exchange. The exchange between people will be sufficient, and the reason that this will work is because it will also go hand in hand with the idea that within the next 2 or 3 decades, you will also create the idea of absolute, unlimited free energy. And once you achieve that, you will find that almost nothing stands in your way of becoming a unified society. Now, between now and then, there may be a few interesting surprises. Again, as we have talked about, more and more will be there an increase in the awareness of the existence of extraterrestrial societies, beginning on and around your year of 2015. There will be more knowledge that such things exist. And again, as it expands, ultimately to your year of 2033, when it will be, in that sense, open contact that will have occurred between your civilization and the first civilization to make open contact with your world, that we in our ancient language have called the Shalanaya, but which they in their own language are called the Yael. You will see more of their ships here and there, and they will become more and more blatant allowing you the opportunity to respond in a manner that allows your society to know that you are ready more and more every day for such open communion, open contact with other civilizations. This, of course, will be based on the idea that you're ready and willing for open contact among your own civilization, among yourselves, among your own people. The willingness to take the actions necessary to receive the downloads and take the actions necessary to create more expansive systems, more expansive opportunities, more expansive services, more expansive inventions, more expansive awareness about the nature of the structure of existence, and apply that in your day-to-day reality. Politically, you will find, over the course of that same 3 decades, many new changes will come about. Somewhere after your year of 2025, but before your year of 2033, it is quite likely, as we read the energy now, that there will be formed for the first time what you call a North American Union, similar in some senses to what the European Union is attempting to do, but it will be slightly different. And more of these large conglomerate unions will begin to appear around your planet until such time as after 2033 they can be linked and unitized in large conglomerate sections, which ultimately then, over time, will lead to a coordination and organization that will be global in nature, but will be of service that benefits humanity. One moment. As has been said, opportunities for sightings will increase. More downloads will occur, that contact is imminent. The literalness of the sightings may or may not occur in your upcoming next couple of days, and also again in February of your new year. One moment. To allow for some of these transitions to take hold, take root, without our interference, we will once again go offline for the transition of your present to new year. Somewhere in and around your December 15th, and we will reconnect once again after your new year has begun. One moment. The channel and the original agreement that was made within the Oversoul, of which he and I are aspects, was that there would be a delivery of information for no less than 9 of your orbits. We are now approaching a time in what you call 2 orbits that will represent 3 times the original agreed upon amount. Once it reaches its 27th year, it will then take a different form. For the next 3 years thereafter, until your year of 2013. We will not instruct at this time what this different form will be, but it will be by our calling alone in terms of how it shall occur. In the manner of the channeling as you understand it now, to no society to whom we have channeled does any channeling in one form last more than the length of an Sasanian lifetime. But because our dimension is 10 times faster than yours, our lifespan of 300 years translates into your reality as 30 years. So when the 30th year occurs in 2013, there will be a transition of how this information is delivered. There will be a transition, as we said, in the 27th year. There will be a difference in the last 3 years until the 30th year, and after that there will be a complete transformation of how this information is delivered. But it will go hand in hand, and be part and parcel with many of the changes that are upcoming, and will represent many of the new systems that are required for implementation in terms of the educational systems on your world. And it will dovetail, as you say, into some of those educational systems and lay the foundations for new interactive educational systems that shall be widespread in the years to come after 2013. One moment. We may now open up to a variety of questions and exchanges that are representative either of the idea of taking action on your joy, or that which is representative of any clarification of belief systems that you believe will aid and assist you in becoming more and more of who you are and acting on your dreams. You may begin this portion.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
We have so many great questions from our viewers.
All right.
Okay, and the first one has to do with the handout. What happens if we do a misstep on one of these steps? Like if we look into a conspiracy theory or get into some religious spiritual argument with someone, if we notice it, learn from how it feels and adjust, are we back on track, so to speak? Is there anything more we need to do if that happens?
No. If you learn from it, then if you go back into the instruction in the way it was delivered, then you are back on track. So learn a lesson, learn why you may have desire to engage in that way, and then get back into the vibrational state as encouraged by the step. And realize that it's not necessary to venture that way again. Unless you do, then again, learn from it, learn why you chose to go in that direction. This can be used, like a lot of other things, to determine what your belief systems are and why you choose to do what you do. So if you use it that way, then you are learning, you are growing. But again, the idea is to realize that there is no need to do it, and that following the instruction more precisely will be to your advantage in creating the vibrational frequency that will bring you into alignment with contact and the interstellar alliance, if that is what you prefer.
Okay. And in step one, you said not to engage in discussions about conspiracy theories in general. Given that the UFO cover-up has been considered as conspiracy theory, but is an actual conspiracy, would engaging in conversation about it be considered going against the rule of step one?
No, because it is beyond theory at this point. There are too many witnesses, too many sources, too many verifications from many different people. And therefore, it is out of the category of theory. So you can research, you can discuss. It has been suppressed and covered up. At this point, it is relatively obvious that there is enough research, enough validation from so many different sources of different types that you can consider it to be something that is real.
And does watching videos or stories about true or not true conspiracy theories and stories go against the interstellar experiment? What I mean is, I enjoy watching these forms of entertainment without being emotionally affected.
If it is research, if you can remain neutral in observing all of the input from those particular presentations, then it is research. But the idea is to allow yourself to pay attention to whether you are becoming caught up in it once again, if you ever were, and to remain neutral in the observation of those things so that you don't necessarily develop a strong opinion in one direction or another about what is true about them or not. If it is too challenging for you to not form an opinion, to not have strong perspectives on what it is you are watching, what it is you are absorbing, then again, it would be best for now to back off and remain neutral and maybe not absorb as much of the information. But if you can remain completely neutral, completely objective, and allow it all to simply be information for the purpose of research, then it is fine. But you have to pay attention honestly as to whether that's what you're doing or not.
Okay, and because you will be discussing in step 3 writing letters to specific individual officials around the globe regarding disclosure of UFO contact, and in doing so providing specific wording for us to use, I would appreciate if you could also give us instructions for non-native speakers of English. Is it okay to translate the wording you provided into our own native language and use it in whatever ways you may suggest? And is it okay to share what I have translated with the people of my own country who would also like to join the social experiment, so they can also send letters to specific individuals?
Yes, that is fine. However, one suggestion we would have would be, don't necessarily rely on your own translation unless you are a professional interpreter, a professional translator who is absolutely certain that your translation is accurate in terms of the intention and meaning behind the words that are delivered in English. So you can translate it into different languages, but for those who are not proficient at the translation, then we would suggest that you find someone who is and ask them if the translation, or ask them to translate it in a way that captures fully the exact meaning of the original language. So if you can do that, and you can know that it is accurately representative, then that is fine.
And also, one question that came up, some individuals may feel anxiety about being perceived as some sort of target or part of some conspiracy or something in their land. And what are some suggestions for dealing with anxiety about, in a sense, sticking out or making yourself, I guess you'd say, a target or something like that?
Well, this simply goes back to some of the original ideas we have discussed for many years. You have to examine your belief system and find out why you are perceiving this in a fear-based or negative way. If the idea is too challenging for you, then as we have said, it's up to you to decide not to be a part of the social experiment. As the word implies, it is a social experiment, which means it requires interaction with society. So if you find that too challenging and are unable to let go of any fear-based or negative beliefs you have surrounding your participation in this social experiment, then don't participate. Otherwise, get in touch with your belief systems as to why you believe that it would be a negative thing to move forward in this way, and learn to let them go. Learn to let those beliefs go. Learn to transform them into something more positive so that you can be coming from your self-empowerment, your indestructible core. But again, as always, it is up to you to decide whether this is something that you are capable of participating in or not.
And also the idea of, I guess, thousands of letters going out all over the planet. What do you anticipate would be the reaction from administrative levels of our planet to that kind of thing, onslaught happening?
One particular reaction would be that they understand that there is organization to these thoughts, that there is unification to these thoughts, that there is similarity beyond borders, beyond cultures. This is something that can awaken them to realize that this is an important issue to look at, an important issue to address. Beyond that, there is no insistence or expectation, but we know that that recognition will occur in many individuals when they see a massive amount of individuals, regardless of country, regardless of background, regardless of other belief systems, unified in the idea of requesting the release of this information.
Okay. And when you talk about the hybridization agenda by the Greys, it sounds like humanity agreed to it in some higher level, that the Earth becoming the sixth hybrid race is a part of that agenda, and this has already been decided. If humanity on a conscious level became aware of this as a fact, it would have been looked at as a silent, covert invasion and not something positive or beneficial. I suppose this is why it is being carried out in secret from the majority of the population. How would you explain this conundrum? Is the slow drip disclosure a part of making the general population accustomed to the idea? Would not carrying out this agenda result in humanity going the path of the negative timeline the Greys experienced?
No.
And without white lies, how would you explain it if you had an opportunity to have a transmission that the entire Earth could hear?
Again, the idea is that understanding your connection to your galactic family, awakening to your true potential, awakening to the agreements that you have made for the evolution of humanity would do exactly the opposite of allowing you to go down the negative path that the Greys took. It would allow you more opportunity to choose the path that you prefer in a positive way. The idea of secrecy is, as you say, euphemistically, a kind of drip system that allows humanity to get used to the idea, but it is also what gives humanity the time to awaken and remember that they made this agreement so that it doesn't feel forced, so that it doesn't feel like an invasion, as you say, so that you can take responsibility for the part you are playing in having made an agreement from a higher level to aid and assist in the evolution of humanity in this format, in this way. And it is the acceptance of this responsibility and the awakening to the memory of the choice that you made as a collective that would allow you to be able to choose a more positive path and not go down the path that the Greys took in their reality.
And so the idea of this being a timeline for humanity, it's just one timeline. So of course there will be those individuals who would not want to participate in this direction for humanity.
Yes, and they will have their own reality. They will move on and proceed as if this didn't happen. There are many versions of Earth and many different scenarios that you can navigate to that will fit what you prefer based on the belief system you hold to be true.
So someone who's highly focused on the Earth and ecological issues and wanting the planet to become more and more beautiful and not with conflict, you know, a peaceful, wonderful place, heaven on earth, so to speak. They can have that experience without becoming part of the hybridization timeline. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. Again, there is a kind of mass consensus in large part with humanity to have agreed to the idea of aligning with open contact and aligning with the idea of the hybridization program, aligning with the vibration of the Interstellar Alliance, Obviously, what we are suggesting in these steps are the steps that are necessary to align with that particular earth reality for those who have chosen it. But yes, of course, there is always the availability of other versions of parallel realities, parallel versions of earth, that don't necessarily include what it is that we are suggesting in these steps. And that is why we tell you it's up to you to decide to participate or not, so that you can feel it out for yourselves as to what kind of reality you have chosen to prefer, you have chosen to be a part of, what group you have chosen to navigate to different Earths with. However, the vast majority of individuals who are exploring the idea of the expansion of consciousness on your planet at this time, again, not that all of them have to have chosen this, but the vast majority, as we perceive it, of those who are exploring the expansion of consciousness have agreed to participate in this particular form of humanity's evolution. And those are the ones we are speaking to. And only those.
Okay. I have an image in my mind, this person is saying, in which they perceive all the people on Earth watching the news on their devices and watching live, like what happens on New Year's with the countdown and fireworks. I see the governments of Earth declare that they have opened their borders and burned their weapons. Every time I get that image, I get excited. I want to know if that image will happen on Earth, and if so, will it happen before we join the Interstellar Alliance or after? Is that something that has already happened in another version of Earth?
It is something that exists in many other versions of Earth, and you have to decide exactly whether or not you are navigating in that direction. There is a high probability that many of you are. The idea of such a thing would happen after open contact, but it would have to happen before you are officially joined to the Interstellar Alliance. So in between the idea of contact and the idea of actually joining the Interstellar Alliance is where something like that would most likely fall.
Okay. Now this person is asking about the formula. And they say they live by the formula, but they can't seem to make it work.
Then they don't live by the formula.
Excuse me?
Then they do not live by the formula.
Right. They're saying that I was raised with beliefs like work before play, you have to earn your fun, life is hard, you can have too much of a good thing. I find it incredibly difficult to find and change the belief systems behind these. How can I learn to feel joy and passion and be sure that I am living the formula as a self-organizing principle?
Well, again, you have to actually live the formula, which you're not doing, because you're not allowing yourself to redefine some of those belief systems in certain ways that serve you. For example, when you talk about the idea that you have to earn the ability to be happy, you do not have to do that. You have to understand that joy is a natural state that belongs in your spirit. That is an expression of spiritual existence. You have to understand that the definitions you have are not working for you. You have to understand there are other definitions that would work for you and be more in alignment with the idea of what the formula is telling you, of what the formula is saying and how it works. So you have to match the definitions you have with the way that the formula has been described to you as working for you to your advantage. If you hold on to definitions that are contradictory to it, then yes, you are not using the formula. It will not work because they are of a different frequency, of a different vibration than the vibrational frequency of actually following and acting on the formula in the way that it has been delivered to you. So examine these definitions in a way that allows you to reinvent them, to understand that you don't have to hold on to them in the way that you have vocalized them. The idea is that, yes, of course, there will be challenges, but challenges are fun. Yes, of course you have to take physical action, but that does not have to be a struggle. It does not have to feel like, quote unquote, work in the negative sense. Of course you are physical and will have to do things physically. But when you are going with the flow, when you are being your true self, then all the definitions that you are now saying that don't work for you can be rearranged and reinvented to understand how they can work for you, such as what I just delivered to you, what I just suggested. That work does not have to feel like a struggle, does not have to feel like an effort. There are certain kinds of tensions and pressures that are positive and creative. Again, you have to allow yourself to feel it that way. Because when you are being creative, when you are being yourself, again, of course, you will have challenges because challenges help you grow, help your soul grow, help your spirit grow. So the idea is that there will be a kind of pressure, a creative pressure there. But the pressure that you experience in a positive sense is not the same kind of pressure that you experience in a negative sense. The pressure you experience in a positive sense is a kind of energy momentum that encourages and urges you to move forward, to take action, to be yourself, to be centered, to be true to who you are. The kind of pressure that you experience in the negative sense is the kind that allows you to feel overwhelmed, that you're not doing enough, that things aren't good enough. The idea that you can have too much of a good thing is what sets up the negative pressure. Now, we understand that some of these phrases that exist on your planet are done to make sure that you don't become egotistical about it. That's really the reason that some of them exist, so that you can always have a check and balance system in case you are worried that you will become too egotistical, too out of integrity, too out of alignment. That's the only reason they exist. If you recognize them simply as a check and balance system that can be understood lightly, and you understand you're always willing to check in with yourself to make sure that you are remaining in alignment and always within your integrity, then it's all right from now and then to experience that you might step a little bit outside of it, because you know you will always bring yourself back into alignment by having that check and balance system. But the check and balance system is not meant to be a rigid shackle on you that prevents you from exploring, that prevents you from being yourself, that prevents you from knowing that happiness is your birthright. So you have to take these things that you have said, these admonitions, these phrases, these sayings, a little bit more lightly as a check and balance system, just to make sure that you're staying true to yourself and not see them as such a rigid set of rules that cannot be broken in any event for any reason whatsoever. Just keep them as an understanding that you are always willing to be aware of when you are in or out of balance, and you can move forward by acting on the formula in a freer way that allows you to know you will always pay attention to what you're doing. You will